Hey folks, I'm Brendan, and you're watching the Overqualified Henchman. I'll be honest, today's topic is one I've been putting off for a while. It's easy to make excuses, but at some point you just have to buckle down and take responsibility. I think everybody probably knows where I'm going with this already, but to spell it out, it's comic book sorting day. Hey, you know how it goes. You get home from the comic shop, you read that week's comics, and maybe, you're not in a real alphabetizing mood just then. So you set those comics down, and then the next week, well, you put more on that stack, and then, that stack gets a little too high. So maybe you put a second stack, and then pretty soon, you've got stacks all over the apartment and you can't find anything. To be clear, I don't mean, you can't find that one particular issue. I mean, you can't find anything because the entire apartment's covered in comics. So, tonight I'm finally going to buckle down and take care of that, and I thought I'd take the opportunity to talk about some of the books I've been reading lately. Like a series that started just last week. Vote Loki by Christopher Hastings. You probably know Hastings as the Dr. McNinja guy, but he's done some work for Marvel before, like the Unbelievable Gwenpool. The interior art is by Langdon Foss, who also did the She-Hulk portions of the last Marvel holiday special. His style can be a bit of an acquired taste, but I feel like it works here. Nobody really comes across as pretty, just larger than life. Obviously, the series is just getting started with the first issue, but I'm looking forward to more. And like a lot of comic fans, I store my collection in long boxes. Really should have emptied this one out before doing this bit. They fold flat when they're not in use, and when they're full, they're pretty conveniently stackable, so they're relatively compact. But once you get to about a half dozen of these or so, they start to become a pretty good argument for moving to a digital format. My superhero selections have been skewing pretty heavily to the Marvel side for a while now, but I can't talk about recent comics without talking about DC Rebirth. Now, I'll admit, I'm pretty jaded when it comes to these sort of soft reboots that promise nothing will ever be the same again. That said, I love me some Wally West, and there are a couple of DC Rebirth titles that I am looking forward to. The first of those to hit the stands is the relaunched Detective Comics, along with its original numbering. I'm excited about that cast. The New 52 reboot was not super kind to the ladies of the Bat family, and it's taken a long time to get Cassandra Cain and Stephanie Brown back. Throw in their old buddy Tim Drake with some green back in his costume, and have them all trained by Kate Kane, I'm in. Also, Clayface is there because reasons. You'd think deciding how to sort comics would be pretty straightforward. I mean, they literally have numbers on them. But take the Spider-Women crossover, for example. That looped through Spider-Gwen, Silk, and Spider-Women for 2 issues apiece. Plus, it started with the one-shot Spider-Woman Alpha, and ended with Spider-Woman Omega. I mean, that's 8 issues total. Do I sort them with their individual series? Do I put them all together separately? When they say adulthood is about making tough decisions, this is what they mean. Now look at this matte finish Sophie Campbell cover with the embossed logo. You read that right? Gem of the Holograms is back, and this is the first issue of the Dark Gem arc. You might say it's truly too obvious a joke. That's fair. Now, I don't really have any personal nostalgia for the Gem of the Holograms cartoon, so I gave IDW's take on the series a chance purely based on style points. It's crazy colorful, and I love the way they convey the raw power of the music when the bands are playing. That said, I stuck around for the characterization. Between the holograms, the misfits, and the people in their lives, this is a wildly diverse and interesting cast. Personally, I relate to Roxy and her love of bagels. Most of the time when I pick up a trade paperback, it's for a series that I know I like and I want in a nicer format. Sometimes, though, it's to pick up a series that I passed on at the time, which is the case for Contest of Champions. Okay, so in theory, this is a tie-in for the mobile game, which is why I felt pretty safe ignoring it when it first came out. In practice, though, this is just Al Ewing going nuts in the best way possible. You want the Maestro version of the Hulk? You got it. You want Punisher 2099? You got it. You want cosmically empowered Gamora? You got it. You want Elektra as Bullseye? You got it. You want a version of Venom who runs around with Spider-Man's tattered costume tied around his neck as a cape? You got it. And if you want a hero who, and I can't stress this enough, goes into battle with a skateboard, you got it. Night Thrasher is amazing. Contest of Champions has a lot of Easter eggs for longtime comic fans, but there's basically zero continuity, so it's easy to jump into. Unless, I guess, you don't like fun or something. Let's talk bags and boards for a sec. So, there's still that stereotype of the comic collector who wants every issue in mint condition, because it's going to be some kind of investment. I actually use bags and boards for the opposite reason. I find it makes it a lot easier to take an individual issue out to read again, without worrying about them banging into each other as they slide in and out. So here's a weird coincidence. King's Quest and Future Quest. Flash Gordon, the Phantom, Mandrake the Magician, Prince Valiant, and Jungle Jim all teaming up. Jungle Jim being a jungle who is also a guy named Jim. And bringing them together works way better than it has any right to. Basically, this shared universe starts with Earth being invaded by Ming the Merciless, dreaded conqueror of the planet Mogo, and his army of vicious beastmen. Naturally, our heroes are drawn together to fight off this threat, but not before a lot of really satisfying plot points are dropped that help tie them together and make this shared universe work. On the other hand, Future Quest is also a new shared universe, but in this case tying together a bunch of Hanna-Barbera properties. I'm talking Johnny Quest, Space Ghost, Birdman, the Herculoids, a bunch of others. This first issue gives us a new origin for Space Ghost and helps set up the basic premise, which involves an unspeakable evil and strange portals to even stranger worlds. Now, presumably the quest in Future Quest comes from Johnny Quest, but King's Quest was actually out first. Strange coincidence or sinister conspiracy? I mean, probably just a coincidence, but it's fun. Now, there's a ton of other books I've been reading lately, but at some point I should probably actually start sorting these, so thanks for watching. If you want to keep up on which comics I'm reading, follow me on Instagram. I post a picture of my new comics haul each week. Let me know in the comments what you're reading, and until next time, keep on henching. This might take a while.